watching the Bulldog Brewhouse Podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Steve Grover back here for another episode of the Bulldog Brewhouse Podcast. Hopefully everyone's enjoying the new fall season and getting ready for Thanksgiving that we're rolling into. So, hopefully you have some holiday cheer and stuff your face full of nice turkey and stuffing. Tonight's episode, I'm very honored. I have a gentleman that's well known in the motorcycle community, and eventually he will be an icon in the Alberta motorcycle community. I've got Kenny here from Ill-Fated. So Kenny, thank you for showing up on the Bulldog Brewhouse Podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. Busy day at work, and I have to do a couple podcasts to put out there to educate people about the Bulldogs and motorcycling community here in Calgary and Alberta. So you came straight from work?
I did, yes.
Okay, and so tell a little bit. I mean, maybe some people don't know who you're out there, part of our viewership or people that are new to the motorcycle community here in Alberta.
Yeah.
So are you originally from Calgary?
I am, yes.
Okay, you're born here?
Born, raised.
Okay, yeah. And then obviously you graduated high school here?
I did, yeah.
And then any post-secondary education you did?
Yeah, I went to University of Calgary.
Okay.
Here.
And what did you take there?
I majored in manufacturing engineering.
Manufacturing engineering.
Yes.
So you're one of those smart guys.
I mean, it was tough going through school for me, but like manufacturing engineering, they don't have it anymore.
No.
As a major, but you can minor in it.
Okay.
I was the last year for that, and for those that don't know what that discipline is, it's like mechanical engineering, except they do the design work.
Okay.
But how does that get made?
Okay.
And that's where we come into play, and then we can make it feasible, cost effective, efficient.
Okay.
And put into production.
Okay, so you went to University of Calgary engineering department. Was it a 4-year degree?
It was, yeah.
Okay, and then after you graduate, you got that big, diploma, the degree you paid all that money for.
Yeah.
Where did that take you in life after that?
I mean, I did my internship with a biomedical company called Tenets.
Okay.
Medical engineering.
Yeah.
And so after that internship, I went back for my last year of school.
Okay.
And then after graduation, I was lucky enough to get hired back on with them. Mm-hmm. But this is where things changed, because 2 months into working, I got in a really bad motorcycle crash.
Okay. Sorry to hear about that.
Thanks. It was like a Wednesday night during the week, like around Stampede time. Mm-hmm. And long story short, I was going home and I needed some gas so I can get to work the next day, and I never made it home.
Oh, okay. So,
an oncoming drunk driver turned across my path, and I T-boned him.
Okay.
And I was going about 50 kilometers an hour, but from that speed to zero, I wasn't lucky enough to fly over the vehicle. I went into the door frame, the passenger side. My head hit the door frame, and the rest of my body, like my hands, my organs, and my inner groin got lacerated pretty bad. So it was pretty rough, life-threatening crash.
Okay.
And it took a while to come back from that. It took about, once I left the hospital, I was splinted up because I broke my hand in 3 spots. And anyways, in that splint for, a couple weeks. And when they took it off, I completely atrophied. I couldn't even move my hand. And, it was kind of frightening, I'm right-hand dominant too. And it took about 10 months of physio to get strength and mobility back. But during that time, that first bike, I realized nothing was usable anymore except the motor, right? So I decided to pull that motor out and build a custom bike. So I'm trying to hunt down some parts, handlebars, headlight, taillight, any custom bits like foot pegs, grips. And I realized none of this was available in Calgary, never mind Canada at the time. And I'm like, everything's in the States or in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So me and a buddy, we just started an online business. So we had 3 T-shirt designs to sell, and then pair that along with some parts that we were importing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I used these same parts for my build, and so it was just kind of an online business for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then within the 5 years, I got back into engineering.
Okay.
But then, I finished that build and then started working on bikes for friends, and then friends of friends, and then to people I don't even know.
Okay.
So it was getting busy. So working a full day job, and then, working till 2, 3 at night, and all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2015, I made a decision to commit full time.
Okay.
Into Ill-Fated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it all began.
Okay.
From a very bad crash.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, bad things happen to good people, and you had that accident, and, it looks like it was pretty devastating injuries, but, you're still here. We're happy to have you here in the motorcycle community in Calgary. A lot of people know who you are. I bought some parts from you and had you work on some bikes, and obviously you're very familiar with Ashley. With One Broken Biker. So it's really good to, have you here, and, thank God you got through a very bad time of your life, but, obviously we're all happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So how did you come up with the name of Ill-Fated Customs for your bike shop?
I mean, essentially from that night, from such a bad situation, instead of be afraid or avoid it, I kind of just embraced it. So use that as a company name.
Okay, that's cool. So it inspired you to get on with another part of your life. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, for a while thereafter, being injured that bad, I mean, unfortunately, within after the 10 months of physio, I got in a similar wreck or collision.
Yeah. And
it wasn't as devastating, but it was bad enough to break bones and delay my healing a bit, and so I guess the first bike I got was a 2007 Triumph Bonneville. Bought it brand new, loved it to death, rode it everywhere. Yeah. And so when I was trying to hunt down the same bike, I found that in BC, and so both got wrecked, and then so now I have a third. Okay. 07 Bonneville.
The green one?
That's what it used to be, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you got into engineering, you had the bad wreck, and you had another one. Did you ever get back into engineering, going back to work for that company?
Yeah, I mean, these 2 crashes happened before I got back into the field again. Okay. So once I started hunting down an engineering job, it was kind of a bad time too. It was hard to get a job.
The economy was bad for hiring?
Yeah, it was actually. This is 2010-ish. Okay. And anyways, I ended up getting back into it, doing CNC machining, and I was their production engineer. Okay. For Nexa machining. Yeah. I'd be there for a couple of years, and then got into more dedicated oil and gas, Weatherford, Iron Derrickman, and that would be my last full-time engineering job.
Okay. Yeah. So you decided to go full-time and go into a motorcycle custom shop.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And so what was the transition like to go from like a full-time job all of a sudden when you're your own boss now? Was it a big jump for you?
I'd say it was. Mentally, physically, financially.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been there, done that 20 years ago. And when I opened my own law firm, I was worried about buying those little plastic garbage bins,
Right,
$5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But what made you your work was growing?
Yeah.
I mean, you're willing to keep that 9 to 5 secure paycheck life going and move and do your passion. Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, the clientele and customers that list was building.
Yeah.
So that was reassuring, and then was getting more repair jobs, or even just maintenance jobs too.
Yeah.
But obviously, we come from custom design and fabrication. That's our foundation, and but before all that, you got to make sure a bike's worth customizing.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure it's mechanically good and operational.
So when you made that jump, obviously, were you married at the time? I know your lovely wife Jenny.
Thank you.
Or was that?
Oh yeah, it was for sure.
Okay. Was it a big change for you as a couple to go out and do your own kind of business, or she was like, okay, let's just go do it?
She's always been there to support that, and
thick and thin. That's what marriage is all about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You take that, Val.
Because I started off just working in my garage full time.
Yeah.
So instead of getting up, driving to work, going in the office, and all that routine that you're used to for so long, instead you wake up, you walk 30 feet, and you're in the garage.
Yeah.
And no one to bother you except when the customer comes and you deal with them. But other than that, I turn the music on and you work away.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's for me, that was very therapeutic too. So I mean, that's why I committed full time, because I just love working on motorcycles.
Okay.
Whether mechanically to fix something or to be hired to design and make something from scratch.
Yeah. Okay.
So starting it up, it had to acquire a lot of equipment, tools, more tools, and but it's part of the trade, and you just have to commit to that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't look back when you make that decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So you're working out your garage.
Yeah.
And then after that, you got your clientele going, and obviously people are happy. You got more clientele.
Yeah.
What was your first location where you are located now, or did you start somewhere else first?
I started in a much smaller space.
Where was that located?
This was directly 3 blocks north of where we are now.
Okay.
Even from the website days, we've always had retail and parts. So in my garage, it was a little bit upscale of that, a little soft goods section, some parts.
Yeah.
Anyways, people were coming through, and you started to think maybe I don't want people knowing where I live.
Yeah.
There's no privacy.
Yeah.
And then. Anyways, I started up our first shop just beside Christine Klassen's art gallery. That little leg of her building was part of my friend at the time, his woodworking shop. And then I think it was 800 square feet.
Okay.
And half was retail and half was shop.
Okay.
Just to give you an idea for space.
Yeah.
And then from there, I get Jen full time on board, committed, and so she left her oil and gas job to join me on this adventure.
Yeah.
And then I think about a couple of years later, we would hire our first employee.
Okay.
And Jordan would be our head mechanic.
Yeah.
So the three of us just happily working away there for almost 4 years.
Okay.
Just ran out of space.
Yeah.
And so we're hunting for a new spot, and not many good options out there, to be honest, but where we are now, that popped up for lease, and we're like, let's check it out. I think this is it.
Yeah.
So
So if people don't know, what's your current address? I mean, obviously, they probably want to make an effort. I would recommend going by El Feta, checking out your stuff. You got a lot of good, T-shirts, caps. I mean, you get some mechanical work. I know you got a little bar in between the retail and the shop.
Yeah.
But where's your address located now? What if people want to check you out?
Yeah, we're located at 5327 3rd Street, Southeast.
Okay, so that's sort of in the industrial park just behind Chinook Center.
Yes.
And you're about 5 minutes away from my office, which is on the Cloud
literally.
Trail.
Yeah.
You didn't know until tonight how close
Yeah.
I was. Right?
Yeah, because my son and I, we go climbing at the Calgary Climbing Center, which is right behind your office.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so how big is your shop now?
So now we're in 5,000 square feet.
Okay, so you go from almost 400 square feet to 5,000 square feet. And how many bays do you have?
We got 5 bays.
Yeah.
I mean, we moved in at 4,000 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
But that bar that you mentioned, that happened after a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
A good friend of ours, Dan Clapson, over COVID, we used to go for coffee and just hang out and do his work. During COVID, that place got shut down, and he ended up coming to our spot for coffee and his work. And then, we got chatting about making an event space, and then committed to that. And then that orange wall that you see in there, that had to come up first and separate the shop side of things. And so since we lost 1,000 square feet, we ended up picking up one more bay adjacent to us, and so now we're in 5.
Mm-hmm.
So
are you growing still, or you're okay right now for space?
I think we're good right now.
Yeah. Okay. And then how many employees are? There's obviously you. There's Jen.
Yeah.
What's Jen's title at your office, at your shop?
Well, co-owner and.
So who's the real owner, you or Jen? You can tell her.
Depends who you ask. I guess,
probably her, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's co-owner, sort of like office manager, sort of, or.
Oh yeah, she takes care of payroll, social media, events, our soft goods, coffee. Yeah. The event space too.
Okay.
And that event space, we named it the Prairie Emporium, just to kind of separate it from, or kind of disassociate it from motorcycles. Mm-hmm. So it has a bigger outreach that way.
Okay.
So she does a lot there.
Okay. And then also you got a big parking area too. Like there's a gated area, and I know one broken biker started to have like biker nights every other Wednesday there. Yeah, starting this year, it was every 3rd Wednesday. Okay. We would just meet there, and her following, and then our IFK crew, and we'd have the food truck fired up, and the bars open. Okay, so good old time, hey?
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a couple weeks ago we had like over 200 people.
Oh, that's pretty good for a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I think you were there too.
Probably. I popped over for a quick bite to eat and then head home.
Yeah.
But I've been to your shop many times. I bought some jackets, gloves. Actually, this piece right behind us, that was ordered from your shop, right?
Yeah, we did that for you.
So, I remember when I came in, I saw that orange piece, gas tank, and then I said, that's pretty cool. And then you guys did all that work, right?
Yeah. I mean, our good friend Kevin Cuffley, he's our painter, and he's the best. Yeah. Okay. But he's taking a step back from that world with his day commitments. But he did the paint and that whole setup there for you, and we kind of.
I still get compliments today, and every day I come in. This is actually our boardroom, but we make it into the studio for the Bulldog Brewhouse Podcast once a month. But I come in and we put it in the other corner, and a lot of people give me compliments all the time. And it's a great piece just to have, especially for a motorcyclist myself, and a custom, tank, gas tank. It looks pretty cool, and the colors pop, And I mean, I got to give you guys credit. You did an excellent job.
Thanks.
Amazing work. Right?
I mean, that's an example, an extension of, we can do.
Yeah.
But for an entire bike, so everything's got to be top notch. You know, do it as best as we can, and you know, at the end of the day, you got to be happy with the product.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So,
And so you're a motorcyclist. How long you been riding bikes for?
since 2007.
Okay. So how old were you back then?
I would have been 24.
So how did
25.
you? Yeah. So how did you grab the motorcycle lifestyle? What interested
See, I was
you?
never really into motorcycles, to
Yeah.
be honest. And when I was doing my internship with Tenet, you know, you're working full time and you got the evenings off. You don't have to study for anything. My friend wanted to take a motorcycle course and asked if I wanted to join her.
Okay.
I said, sure, let's do that. And it was like a week-long course, and then, man, after that first day, like from not knowing how to use anything on the motorcycle, and by the end of that, like, you got really comfortable on it, and I realized I love this a lot.
Okay.
So that's how it started, and after that, we're like, gotta get a motorcycle.
Okay. So what was your first motorcycle you bought?
2007 Triumph.
Okay.
See, I was gonna buy an older Triumph, like a 70s model, Bonneville. But as I was doing my research, I realized Triumph they were still making motorcycles. And then I realized, they're making a retro model, the Bonneville.
Yeah.
They re-released it back in 2001.
Okay.
I'm like, I gotta see one of these. So I went to Blackfoot.
Oh yeah, just down the road from your shop.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
So went there, saw their floor model, and then ended up ordering the one I bought. And like I say, I just fell in love with the bike and just with riding in general.
Okay. So you never look back. You've always been a Triumph rider.
Yeah, I mean, I do really like Triumph. I mean, all the models are pretty spectacular. But since working on all different sorts of bikes, even different eras of bikes, you start to appreciate everything. Like a couple years ago, I picked up a 52 Harley.
Okay.
And, or about 3 years ago, and then a couple years ago, I gave it a complete makeover and just built it to the way I wanted to. And a bike like that, it's like very, like, tractor technology, very simple. Kickstart only. There's nothing on the handlebars except your clutch and front brake lever. Headlight, taillight. That's it.
Okay, just simple stuff. You don't have ABS traction control.
No.
You don't have like wheelie control.
No.
No, you don't have heads-up display.
Nothing. Like no instrumentation.
Yeah.
You don't know when you're gonna run out of gas or.
Oh yeah, so there's no gas tank light at all.
Nothing.
So just pray that you have enough gas to get home, eh?
I mean, when it starts chugging, you flick it to reserve, and that's about it, right? So
just out of interest, I mean, I've been riding bikes most of my life, and I don't know if you know, I've got I've got Ducatis, Harleys, I got a Triumph again. Actually, I just got the new 2024 Street Triple.
Oh yeah.
It's the Moto 2 edition.
Yeah.
It's kind of a rare
bike.
Okay. I bought it, and I enjoy it. It's pretty smooth. That triple engine's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
It's in my garage right now. Instead of riding, I'm talking to you tonight. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
It's got like yellow fluorescent. It's got carbon fiber.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. I mean, it has what is it?
Like launch control?
Yeah,
probably?
not launch control, but clip-on handlebars.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's a good track bike. I may take it up next year at the Rocky Mountain Power, track up by near Carstairs.
Right.
I don't know. Have you been able to check that out yet or no?
I haven't. I've heard about it.
Yeah.
So,
I went in July. My brother-in-law got some free passes, and they're having like an open house to get more people join their membership. It's not cheap. It's about $40,000. And it's about $4,000 to $5,000 a year for your annual dues
per year.
Yeah, $4,000 to $5,000 annual dues. So $40,000 membership fee and $4,000 to $5,000 a year in annual dues.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty cool track. There's a lot of turns on it, which kind of surprised me.
Okay.
It's built down into the ground, so it's below.
Okay.
And but they're still working on a clubhouse. They're still working on some condos to put your bike in.
Okay.
But it's pretty sweet. I mean, you should check it out. When probably even before the season ends or next summer.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a cool area. So I may take that Triumph out next year as my little track bike.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. But what I'm going to get to is what appealed you to Triumph? There's so many other motorcycle companies. There's Harley Davidson. Everyone loves Harley. Mm-hmm. There's Kawasaki. There's Suzuki. People like the Gixxer. There's Yamaha. The old R6s and the R1s.
Yeah.
There's obviously Ducati. That's total Italian sex appeal, even though they're owned by Volkswagen, a German company. But what was the attraction to Triumph that took you away from the other motorcycle manufacturers to get your own Triumph?
I think it was like when on the internet looking at bikes and when I came across the Triumphs, like the shape of them, shape. And just watching videos of them running, like the sound.
Yeah. They
have a pretty unique sound, right? The parallel twin.
Yeah.
I was just drawn to that look.
You like that old retro kind of look?
Yeah, like a very standard looking motorcycle.
Yeah, okay.
And just their history too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of history there. And, when they first came to North America, they were unbeatable.
Yeah?
And like for example, Harley's reaction to that was the Sportster.
Yeah.
And it was still not as fast. It was still not as light.
Mm-hmm.
So couldn't compete with Triumph. But then the Japanese started kind of making bikes that look like the Triumph.
Okay.
And they did it better. They had better mechanical reliability, and they were faster, and they cost a lot less too.
Yeah.
And that combination of all those things just made those bikes and the brands more appealing. Like Honda with their CB, 450s, 550s, 750, right?
Yeah.
And
what about Yamaha? They have that new XC900 or something like that, retro kind of looking bike. You know what I'm talking about?
FCR, I think.
It's pretty cool. It looks like a Triumph, but it's a Yamaha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like all the brands now, they've come out with their retro bikes. Kawasaki.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have the Cafe Racer kind of bike, the 900 engine. Yeah. Okay. So what are Triumphs like to work on? Obviously, mechanically and service work, are they complicated or pretty straightforward?
I would say for vintage and modern, they're still quite very nice to work on.
Yeah. Okay.
Some bikes have just, I think, design flaws that make it really hard to. It takes more time to work on them.
So what's a I mean, you can be carte blanche on my podcast. Right. Like what's a manufacturer that makes bikes that are difficult to deal with or finicky?
Like say for example, like the Triumph I have, the Bonneville. So like 2001 to 2015 models. Say doing the valve adjustments. You take the gas tank off, you take the valve cover off, and you have access to the valve train.
Yeah.
Versus say different style of bike, or even the newer bikes, you got to peel away the layers. So gas tank, airbox, the electrics, before you can finally get the valve cover off, and then you can inspect.
Okay.
So, but all these extra design bits are, I think, dictated by emissions, aesthetics of the bike, and performance.
Okay.
So.
All right. So you've done a lot. Like your shop you'll do custom work, but you also do servicing work, oil changes, any mechanical work, stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, full shop. Okay. Like we do government inspections. Insurance inspections we can do.
Oil changes, spark plugs. So everyone, I know it's ill-fated Kustoms, but you welcome any kind of business coming in. You just don't have to have a pile of cash and do a custom work for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we started with custom design and fabrication and doing custom builds.
Yeah.
But we do full. See, we cater to old bikes and new bikes.
Okay.
And every brand.
Yeah.
So we last 14 years in business, setting up vendors that can supply us with parts. We've acquired tools and still acquiring. Because most dealerships won't touch bikes 10 years or older.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Well, I think parts availability and maybe the training too. I know, like even carburetors can be quite. I'm a very detailed component of the bike, right? And they're not really teaching it.
Okay.
As much.
Okay. All right.
So there. It feels to me like there's been more of a shift to motorcycle technician versus motorcycle mechanic.
Okay.
And there's a big difference.
Okay. So what's the difference between a motorcycle mechanic and a technician?
I think, being more mechanical, for one, like we can. Most of the times, we can start a bike, or even the way it starts or doesn't want to start, we can start assessing based on experience and our training to diagnose the issue. Whereas a tech is more, because a lot of newer bikes, when something's wrong, you can plug it in, and the ECM will tell you the problem. Okay. And then even at dealerships, based on that problem, you basically just follow a root cause analysis chart, and this is the problem. This is what you need to do to fix it. Yeah. These are the parts and tools you need. So it's very, very laid out.
Yeah, it's like a playbook almost.
Yeah, and like
you don't have to think outside the box.
Yeah, it's more, way more refined, and you can minimize a lot of error that way too. But obviously, to us, that's a huge luxury, right? Yeah. But on the older bikes, you don't have that. No. Other than a manual and a parts diagram. Okay. So those would be the main differences. Okay. Yeah.
And is there a certain bike you like to work on? Like if I showed up with a Triumph model, you like salivate and say, this is going to be fun to work on it. And is there a make and model that you would not want to work on or scares you a little bit?
There's definitely bikes that, when we book it in or we see them, it's like, oh yeah, well, like for sure that's one of our favorites to work on. And a lot of the Triumph models fit that bill. I mean, I would say each brand has bikes that are desirable to work on. Yeah. Like even Harleys, right? Yeah. Now certain models within those brands have a bit of a more of a pain in the ass to work on. Yeah. Like say Honda Magnas. Yeah. The V4 motor. Yeah. Or Yamaha Viragos. Yeah. Those particular bikes have, just by design, they're a bit more difficult to work on. Yeah. And they also have certain reliability issues. Okay. So
Hondas are unreliable sometimes?
No, just particularly those certain models. Yeah. Okay. That V4 era, like the Sabre and the Magna, I don't think they have bad oiling issues to the camshafts. Yeah. And we've seen bad scenarios of each, and And, for the value of the bike, that usually most people don't invest money into them.
Yeah. Okay. So they let it go to the wayside because there's not a lot of cash they put into it.
Yeah, unless it's been taken care of from day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Probably you wouldn't have those issues, but for majority, it's they're in rougher shape,
mm-hmm.
and then by the time those problems come up, it's mm-hmm. almost kind of too late.
Okay. Yeah.
So
they're a challenge.
They can't justify a bike that's say worth $1,500, maybe $2,000, but you got to put in over $2,000 to repair it.
Yeah, well, it's like anything. Yeah, you have to put love and care. You got to take care of your bike no matter what. If you let it go by side, the engine's going to blow up. We don't do oil changes, spark plugs, stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. So currently, you're about 5,000 square feet in the industrial part of Calgary. How many employees are you up to now?
So we got 3.
Okay, including yourself and Jen, or
no, it would be a team of 5.
Okay.
So we got Jordan, our head mechanic.
Okay.
We hired a fabricator because I was falling behind on a lot of that work.
Yeah.
Even before we moved into the shop, just managing it and customer relations, it's really sucked up my time from doing the custom fabrication work. And that was a hard person to hire because who can fabricate similarly and has the same quality control.
Yeah.
And Jared came along and all the check marks. Okay. So perfect.
Yeah.
And then since then he's gotten his motorcycle journeyman as well.
Okay.
And then we have a second-year apprentice with us now.
Okay. So you're up to 5 people?
Yeah.
Okay. And I've been in there lots of times. Obviously, you walk in the front door. They got the nice retail spot. You've actually got a coffee shop now, too. Can you tell people about that?
Yeah, we love our coffee.
Yeah?
So...
You're a coffee addict or a coffee nut?
I wouldn't say I'm addicted to it, but I do enjoy drinking it quite a bit. But over COVID, actually, we decided to add a coffee section to our retail. Okay. And then, and at the time, people couldn't enter, they were shutting down businesses that weren't essential, but, for motorcycle repair,
we
were considered essential. Yeah. But the retail side wasn't, so we kept it closed, but we had a little service window that you could walk up into and order coffee there.
Okay, all right.
And so that's how that little section started. And
so how's that been going, the coffee shop part?
Good. We get our regular coffee people and lots of firemen come by.
Yeah. So what time is your shop open?
We're open. We just shifted to fall winter hours. Yeah. So we're Tuesday to Saturday, but Tuesday to Friday 9 to 5 p.m. and then Saturday 10 to 3.
All right. So if I'm late for work, I'll stop by Il Fay to get a cup of Joe. Why not? Do you have any muffins or other kind of food there, or is it pretty much coffee that you have?
It's coffee right now. Yeah. But now that you mention it, we are going to have just quick nibbles like that to grab
down the road. Okay. Yeah. And then you go into the shop and you got a little bar area now. Yeah. What you talked a little bit about that, but how's that been going? Like the little bar area and you got a little stage in there too? Yeah. Yeah.
So the premise of the Prairie Emporium is to host live music. Okay. But it's also available for private rentals too. Birthday parties, retirement parties.
Christmas parties for law firms.
Christmas parties,
we have a Christmas party.
And we have, we've had banquet-style dinners there.
How about wedding receptions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
There's some coming up too next year. And we have a modular stage you can use, and it'll fit a full piece band. Okay. Or you can completely get rid of it and make it into a dance floor or whatever, really. Yeah. So it's a multi-use space. Yeah. What's the bar counter now was our parts desk before we did all that. And then we have a food truck outside. That's our kitchen.
Okay. Yeah, and I've been there. Yeah, so a little bit, you guys are like a motorcycle shop. You got a little retail part. You got a coffee shop. But you also have bike night. Now, how did that come about? You have your own ill-fated bike night,
so bike nights this year is year 11.
Okay, but how did you get started in that 11 years ago?
So 11 years ago, like me and a couple of friends went to the A&W bike night on Thursday.
Where's the A&W?
It's on 16th Ave and 4th Street.
Okay.
So we were going to those, and it was, I don't know, for me it got it was okay.
It's got redundant pretty much.
Yeah, and it's...
Okay.
You can only eat so many hamburgers.
You're not a T-burger fan or a Mama
No,
burger?
don't get me wrong. I love their hamburgers.
What's your favorite burger at A&W?
I'd say the matzo.
The matzo burger. Do you like the onion rings or the fries?
Onion rings.
And what about, do you like the root beer?
Root beer, yeah.
Or the diet root beer?
No.
They got the best diet root beer ever.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you know. You try it one day.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The Buddy Burgers. So me and a few friends were thinking like, let's just get together for a ride.
Okay.
And let's loosely call it bike night.
Okay.
And I set out on a Wednesday not to step on Thursday's bike night's toes, and then from just a few friends to just started building every year.
Okay.
And when I was still working in my garage, we get like 30 some people out front.
Just for bike night.
Meeting in front of the house. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we would meet at a gas station. And then once we set up shop, it's perfect. Just meet at the shop.
Okay.
After we close.
Yeah.
So bike nights have grown considerably since, and our IFK bike night at a peak of like 60 some.
Ridership.
And obviously combined with Ashley, Broken Biker, we had over 200.
Oh, okay. So it's been pretty successful over the years.
Yeah, and a lot of people have met and become good friends. I've met a few good friends that way too, and kind of little community of riders, and the premise of our bike night too. It doesn't matter what you ride; it's all about if you ride and you want to come join us, let's do it, right?
Okay.
And we would go to a different spot every week.
Okay.
Usually like non-chain restaurants and bars.
Okay.
Support local, support the smaller players, and because that's what we are too. So we get it, how hard it is to
survive and pay the bills.
So kind of, promote other businesses that way.
Okay, so that's every Wednesday. Show up at Ill-Fated during the summer months. And what time do you start at?
6.
6 o'clock.
6,
And then how long? And then when do you start hitting the road?
Usually hang out for half an hour or so, and then we'll ride out. Do like a 20-minute ride. Yeah. We've done further ones, like out to Bragg Creek or Okotoks, Airdrie, even Longview.
Okay.
Some longer rides. But usually within the city, up to 20 minutes.
Okay. So. And then usually head out to get some food or some drink, and then everyone goes from there home pretty much? Or they come back to
So at some point we started going for ice cream.
Okay.
After we eat.
Okay.
So that became a thing. Yeah. And most of the times we would hit up Village ice cream.
Okay. Which location would you go to? There's a couple in town.
See, there's a lot now.
Yeah, I know.
At the time we were going to, what was it, like Marta Loop location?
Yeah, I know that.
Britannia.
Yeah, Britannia's.
But now there's one by the university. Yeah. Bridgeland.
Okay.
I think there's a couple more.
So I've been there many times.
Downtown.
I mean, so what's your favorite flavor at Village?
I'd say the Earl Grey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the salted caramel.
Oh, that one's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Their coffee one's good too.
Yeah. And then, so, you've got your bike shop, you got your bike nights. Now, you've also grown into like an annual bike show kind of sort of, and I think Grover Law Firm was your main sponsor this year.
Yes, thank you for that.
Oh, no,
very generous.
Glad to help you guys out. And so tell us a little bit about the event that you have. It runs in June or so or every year?
So, I mean, we changed that the last couple of years. So the idea of that bike show was from the bike nights.
Okay.
Because we were getting all these bikes showing up that you don't normally see, and they were customized and at various levels too. From full builds to like, guy just did a new handlebar swap and grips. And it was this one particular night, there must have been like 50 some bikes, all lined up at the front of Broken City.
Yeah.
And me and a couple buddies were chatting, and we're like, it'd be nice to capture these bikes at a show.
Okay.
So we named it the Kickstart Show. And the premise on that too is, all these garage builders working on bikes. Well, let's promote it more. Let's encourage them to finish the bike over winter. Yeah. I mean, we get winter here, like 5-6 months.
Oh yeah.
You can't
ride at all. Well, I've been out there and it's plus 20, and I see a guy whip by on his bike, and it's like, okay, look at all that pea gravel on the side of the road. I don't want to go down on that and break my leg.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
You still get guys out there riding, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I used to be like that too. Yeah. Just like a dry day in January. Yeah. But still like -10. I mean, I would get out, but like now.
No, it's not worth it. Yeah. Okay. And then, so how did this? So you have all these bikes show up at the biker night, and then how did you get the idea just to have this show every year, sort of Kickstart?
Yeah. So like, Kickstart. You build your bike. You work on it all winter. Okay. And let's kickstart the riding season with a show. Okay. So the show was normally in May. Yeah. And our first show we had about I think 20 some bikes inside a private hangar. Okay. And then the second year we would have over 50 entries. Okay. At the Springbank Airport. Okay. So we always had it in May. Yeah. Because shortly after that we would start bike nights. But then COVID really screwed things up. Yeah. So with capacity and whatnot, and our show this year we decided to amp it up, bigger scale, bigger venue. Yeah. Just everything about it, being year 8 of the show. Yeah.
8's a good lucky number.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean it went. Couldn't ask for better turnout. Yeah. The entries were all spectacular, and just the volume of traffic.
So where was the show this year?
So it was at the Pioneer.
Okay, on Stephen Avenue. Okay. And how many days did it run?
2 days.
2 days. Yeah. And it was a great turnout.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Really good turnout. Yeah. The space was it's 3 levels. The main floor. Yeah. You got an upper floor that we fit about, I think 6 bikes. And then the lower floor, about 11 bikes. Yeah. But I also noticed on the lower floor when I went down there on Saturday, you had a bunch of skateboards. Yeah. What was that all about? So that's for Cousins' skateboard. Okay. We gathered, we got a bunch of skate decks, and we put the word out to artists, and they can do it up however they like. And then people would do a silent auction and bid on the boards. Yeah. And then all the proceeds went to Cousins. Okay.
And how was that a good success this year?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So Cousins, it's started by Stu, and it's to get Indigenous communities, like especially younger kids, involved in something, and skateboarding culture and it's very engaging like that. Keeps you busy, keeps you super active, and it becomes a whole community too.
Okay, so it's good success on top of the bike show and everything.
Yeah.
And then you have awards for the best custom bike too?
Yeah, we had 6 awards to give.
Okay.
Because we don't really categorize best Japanese or best American or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, to us, it's all about the quality of the build, the craftsmanship, creativity.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't matter what era that bike is in. So we would have Builder's Choice, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then People's Choice. Kids' Choice.
Yeah.
Get the kids involved too, and Committee's Choice.
Okay.
So those are the 6 trophies to hand out.
Okay. And that's probably the biggest event you have right now, the Kickstart, and that was when was this again? June?
This is mid-June-ish.
June of this year, yeah.
Yeah.
And you had the bar going, you had some beer, you had some food you can buy and stuff like that.
Yep.
So it was really good success. So probably 2024 you'd be back there or going to grow into a bigger space?
Well, bigger's not always better. I think the Pioneer, like the layout, the atmosphere, it was perfect. It was very unique for a motorcycle show.
Okay.
So definitely, if Chris Lewis wants to have us again, we'll set up there.
So there's no craziness going on there.
Yeah.
Chris was happy with you guys.
I think so. Yeah, he's super happy.
All right. And then on top of the Kickstart, you have other little events going through it? Because I know you have the bar area and the stage.
Yeah.
Can you tell people a little about what other little events you got going on during the year?
What else what's coming up in October?
Yeah.
We'll have a end of the season party.
Okay.
And, kind of wrap up the riding season.
Okay.
Have a little party. And last year we had an Elvis impersonator.
Okay.
Show up for entertainment.
Yeah.
Jen signed me up to get my hair dyed blonde.
Okay.
And we raised money for that too.
Yeah.
And then giveaways, prizes like that.
Okay. So when's the year-end party this October?
That'll be October 20th.
Okay, and that's that's a Saturday. I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what time does that start at?
7, I think.
PM?
Yeah.
And it goes until what, 6 in the morning?
I think 2. 2 a.m.
You'll have some live entertainment?
Yeah, we will.
Any bands lined up yet or singers?
I think we're working on that right now.
Yeah, okay. Maybe Snoop Dogg will show up or something?
Well, maybe in a few years we can hire him.
You're not big enough yet. Eh?
But the next big one actually is, we also did it last year, is the Motorcycle Film Fest.
Okay, when is that?
So I think it'll be on the day before, October 19th.
Okay, so you got a busy weekend.
Yeah, so we'll have some movies played at the Plaza in Kensington.
Okay. Yeah. I've been there.
Like 2 sessions.
Yeah.
You can get the full access pass that'll cover both sessions. And I think that's almost being sold out right now.
Okay. What's on the matinee for the movies for that film fest?
I think there's going to be like 7 shorts.
Okay.
And the way Caius curated them together, it's they'll like kind of go hand in hand.
Okay.
I don't know the exact name list, but
are they independent films or?
Yes, mostly.
Okay, so independent. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and that'll be on the 19th of October, and then the following day you got your
I believe it's the 19th.
Yeah.
I gotta confirm that with Jen.
And then the next day you got your big year-end party.
Yeah, so we'll tie in the end of the season party with kind of a post party for the film fest.
Okay.
And then
any Christmas parties coming in?
We might. We have in the past, and we might this year, but we'll see what's what's on the menu here.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, great. And then obviously, you know, I've known you for a while, and you know, I always like maybe one day we can collaborate and do a custom bike for Broken Law Firm. Maybe do a donation bike for OVB or something like that.
Sure.
You know, I think we talked about a little bit before we started today. You know, I know I do have a Triumph now again.
Yeah.
I've had 2 Triumphs, a Scrambler XC, and now I've got the Street Triple.
Right.
But maybe look at a BMW like an R9T or a 129T. Those are 2 good bikes, good retro bikes.
Oh yeah, great platforms.
So you wouldn't turn, like if I showed up with a BMW R9T, you wouldn't turn me away. Hey Steve, I can't work on this.
No. We've actually customized a few of those.
Okay.
In the past few years, and like heavily customized them too. So if you're willing, we'll
look at it. Yeah. Okay. And then open to any ideas and stuff like that, and you can make a custom work. And
we'll cater it to what you like.
Yeah. Okay.
And we can go as deep into it for custom fabrication as you like, and different paint schemes, designs.
Yeah. Okay, that'd be cool.
I'm sure we'll put Winston and
Roosevelt on there. Yeah. Maybe just Winston.
Yeah, whichever one you like.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And then, so obviously things are going well. You got the shop going. You're buzzing away. You've got the Prairie Emporium. Obviously, there's bike nights. You collaborated with OBB this year. Yeah. That went pretty good. Yeah. And then you've got the food truck going. So you have a different vendor for every kind of bike night.
It depends on the event.
Yeah.
We have had different people in the food truck.
Okay.
From Bastion Burgers to Heller Good Sandwiches.
Yeah.
Out of Drumheller.
Okay.
We've had some pretty high profile chefs.
Gordon Ramsay?
No, well,
not
maybe
yet.
Not that high, but
Chef Boyardee.
But yeah, I mean it's a full kitchen in there, right?
What about Chef Boyardee? Did he show you up make some ravioli? No, not yet.
I can make those. Yeah.
Okay. So it's going well at your shop and no complaints. I mean, I know it's a big jump. I mean, I've been there, gone my own business. You gone there. Any advice you would have anyone? Any advice some guys or gals or people that want to go and be on the entrepreneurial lifestyle? Any recommendations? Because that's a totally different lifestyle when you go out and be your own boss.
It is, and you have to be prepared to commit your time and extended time too into whatever business you choose. And I mean, there's zero room for laziness, obviously, and with the family involved, you can't obviously lose track of that too. But it becomes your own baby too. You have to take care of it, otherwise it will fail. And don't ever bite more than you can chew. Yeah. That saying is very real. And bigger is not always better, depending on what it is. It really depends on what venture they choose to be on, and
enjoy what you're doing. My parents always said
that's super important.
My parents always gave myself and my 3 younger sisters advice. Do what you want to do. Don't worry about the money. And if you're passionate about it, the money will come. You agree with that?
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
In the beginning, from leaving a salary job, you go in, you get paid either way, right? And very cushy. And I mean, obviously, if I didn't think what I do could support my family, then I wouldn't have done it. And now, we have 3 other guys working for us, and it supports themselves and their families too. So
that's good.
But you got to have fun for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the one thing I always want to do is have fun in the office. I mean, I've been riding motorcycles. Unfortunately, I do represent people that have been injured in accidents like yourself, and it's pretty traumatic. And you got to be patient with these, clients. They're going through a life-changing alteration, and but it takes I mean, anyone that wants to be an entrepreneur, it is a lifestyle change, and you have to make a commit to it.
Yeah.
But in the day, like you said, you got to balance family and work, and it can always work no matter what.
Yeah. If you have a good plan of attack and line everything up as best as you can, and even at that, you're going to be short-sighted by a lot of things.
Oh yeah, like I always say, I'm not surprised. I always see something new come across my desk I never saw before.
Yeah.
You know, as long as I'm on this world, everything there'll be always something weird coming across on the news, on your desk, with your friendship, whatever. You know? Yeah. You just got to be ready to deal with it and move on. Correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You can never be too comfortable.
Yeah. They always say, if you got to be ready to be uncomfortable if you're going to be your own boss or have your own business. Yeah. You agree with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I think being uncomfortable is what keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The second you kind of relax and laze a little bit, that's when it can get you.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it can be traumatic, and it can be. It can hurt the business for sure, but like as long as you're prepared, you just have that better advantage to react.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really like the fact that you came by here. I know you're a really busy man.
Well, thanks for having me.
I mean, thanks for coming, and it was a pleasure to interview Kenny from Ill-Fated, one of the most famous people in the motorcycle community here in Calgary. And I wish you all the best with Ill-Fated. Your continued success with you and Jen, and hopefully everything goes well. And we look forward to coming by and talking about doing a custom bike for Grover Law for one day. Okay,
I'm excited for that actually.
All right. So. Well, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you. All safe. And so that's another episode of the Bulldog Brewhouse Podcast. I want to thank Kenny again for taking his time from his busy shop to come by and say hi and have a little chat with us about it. Now you know where to go if you want custom work on a motorcycle, or you just want your oil change or some mechanical work. Go to my friend Kenny at Ill-Fated Customs, and I guarantee he'll take care of you. So everyone have a great evening, and see you till next episode of the Bulldog Brewhouse Podcast. Thanks. Cheers.